Good morning, all of you. In the last session, we completed our discussion related to Maven, GitHub, and Bitbucket. Now, today we are going to understand Agile with Jira. So, what is Agile methodology and why we need to go for Agile methodology and how we are going to use Jira software in the project for our project management activities. Okay, every team member should know what is Jira and how to use this Jira software. All right. Now, first, let's understand what is SDLC. As part of this tool, we need to learn what is SDLC and we need to learn SDLC phases and waterfall model, then Agile model, Agile terminology, and we need to discuss about working with Jira. So mostly today and tomorrow, we are going to learn these topics. What is SDLC? What are the SDLC phases available? What is waterfall model? What is Agile model? Agile terminology and how to work with Jira. All right. So the agenda for this session, we are going to understand these topics. So first, let's start with what is SDLC. All of you already know what is SDLC. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. It represents the complete process of developing and delivering one software application to the customer. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. How a project will be developed and a project will be delivered to the client. Step by step will be a step-by-step process is called as Software Development Lifecycle. It represents end-to-end process involved in software project development. Excuse me, guys. It represents end-to-end process involved in software project development and delivery process. Right? There are several phases involved in the SDLC. We have several phases in SDLC. So how a project will be developed and will be delivered to the customer will be explained in the SDLC. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. This SDLC represents the end-to-end process involved in the software development, but in software development and delivery process. We have several phases in the SDLC. What are those phases? The very first one is requirements gathering. When we want to develop one application to the customer, first, what is customer expectation? What customer is expecting from us? That we need to understand. So for that, we are going to gather client requirements. So client want to start one hotel. For the hotel, what kind of website is required? What functionalities are required for the client? All those requirements we are going to collect. That is called as requirements gathering. Okay. Once the requirements are collected from the client, directly we cannot start the development. We need to go for requirements analysis. Requirements gathering is the first important step and requirements analysis is the second important step. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. It represents steps involved in the project development process. There are several phases involved in the SDLC. The first one is requirements gathering. The second one is requirements analysis. The third one is The third one is design. So we need to prepare a plan. This is design, or I can say it is a planning. What is our plan to develop this application? So the designing phase will be available for the project, and the next one, development will be available. So here directly you are not going to write the code in the project. Whenever you join in the company in the project development process, directly you are not going to start the development. First, you need to gather the requirements. You need to analyze the requirements. You need to design the requirements. Then you need to go for development. Once the development is completed, then testing will be available. Whether whatever the code we have developed, is that code working as expected or not, we have to test it. Once the testing is completed, then that code will be deployed. Here, we need to deploy our application into the server for the execution process. Then finally, we are going for delivery. Finally, we are going for delivery. After the delivery, after the project is delivered to the client, then we will be having operations. I mean to say, maintenance will be available for the application. So if you go for any project, the project will be developed with these phases. So in the project development process, all these phases will be involved. First one, gathering the requirements. That means what is client expecting, what client wants, that we are going to understand by using requirements gathering. After gathering the requirements, we need to analyze whatever the requirements given by the client. Can we do those requirements? Is it possible to implement those requirements or not? We are going to perform requirements analysis. Once analysis is completed, then we will go for designing part. A planning we are going to prepare. Once our planning is completed, then we will go for development. Once the development completed, then testing will be there for the project. Once the testing is completed, then deployment will be there. We need to deploy the application to the server. Once it is deployed, then we need to deliver that application to the client. Once application is delivered to the client, maintenance will be available. That is called as SLA. Service line agreement will be available. When you purchase any product, the company will give you guarantee period, warranty periods will be available. Similarly, when we deliver a software project to the client, company will provide SLA. SLA stands for service line agreement. 1 year or 6 months SLA will be available. That means within that 1 year, if any problem occurs in the application, company is responsible to solve that problem. So here, suppose you purchased a mobile, your mobile is having a warranty period. Within 1 month, your mobile got damaged. Within 1 month, your mobile got damaged. Then you will go to the customer care support. They will repair your mobile for free of cost within 1 year. That is warranty period. Similarly, whenever you deliver a application to the client, company will provide SLA for the client. That is nothing but service line agreement. So it is something like a warranty period for the project. Within the SLA period, if there is any problem in the application, company has to solve that problem for free of cost. Are you guys able to understand this? What is SDLC and what phases are involved in the SDLC? What is SDLC and what phases involved in the SDLC? Are you clear with this? All right. Read the points once again. Gathering the requirements, analyzing the requirements, designing, development, testing, deployment, delivery, maintenance. In this order, we are going to develop a software project. Now, there are several SDLC methodologies are available. There are several SDLC methodologies available in the market. There are several SDLC methodologies available in the market. For example, waterfall methodology available, and currently in the market, the trending is agile model. So the first SDLC methodology that used in the market is waterfall model. The current methodology using in the market is agile model. Okay, the first SDLC methodology came in the market is waterfall. The current trend in the market is agile model. Okay, nowadays in our company also we are following agile methodology to develop the project. Very long back, 10 years back, people used to develop the projects by using waterfall model, but nowadays people are developing the projects by using agile model. Let us see what is waterfall model. Waterfall is one of the SDLC methodology to develop and deliver software application to the client. What is this waterfall model? Waterfall is the first and foremost SDLC methodology came into market. So it is used to develop and deliver software application to the client. Waterfall is the first SDLC methodology that came into market. Now here waterfall model is a sequential model, or it is linear model. If you are going to follow waterfall methodology, you need to develop and deliver the project in the same sequence. So first you gather the requirements. Once one stage is completed, then only we will go for second stage in the waterfall model. Once the second stage is completed, then only we will go for third stage. Once the third stage is completed, then only we will go for fourth stage. So like this, waterfall is the first SDLC methodology that came into market. Waterfall model is a sequential or linear model. Waterfall model is going to, the people who will follow the waterfall model, they need to complete the project stage by stage. In waterfall model, after one stage is completed, then only we will go for next stage. In waterfall model, after one stage is completed, then only we can go for next stage. Okay, so it supports only forward direction. In waterfall model, we will move only in forward direction. So when you go for this waterfall model, requirements are fixed, and budget is also fixed. So what requirements we need to develop? First, we are going to gather requirements from the client. If you see in the waterfall model, all the stages will be available one after other. Requirements, designing, development, testing, deployment, maintenance. Once the requirements are collected, then only we will go for the designing part. Once the designing is completed, then only we will go for development. Once we are in the development phase, can a client change the requirements? When we are in the development phase, can a client change the requirements? No. Here, waterfall is a linear approach. We will move only in the forward direction. Waterfall is a linear approach. We will move only in the forward direction. So here, client cannot change the requirements once we entered into the development mode. Once the development is completed, then only we will go for testing. Once the testing is completed, then deployment. Everything will happen sequentially in the waterfall model. That's why this model is also called as linear model. Waterfall model is also called as a linear model, or it is called as a sequential model. In the SDLC, waterfall is the first model that came into market. Waterfall model is a sequential model, or we can call it as a linear model. In waterfall model, after one stage is completed, then only we can go for next stage. In waterfall model, after one stage is completed, then only we can go for next stage. In the waterfall model, we will move only in forward direction. Requirements are fixed and budget is also fixed here. Client involvement is very less in the waterfall model. Client involvement is very less in waterfall model. Client involvement is very less in the waterfall model. Client will see the project. Client will see the project only at the end. Client will see the project only at the end. Now assume that we have developed a project for the client. Client has given the requirements 2 years back. Client has given the requirements 2 years back. In the 2021, client has given the requirements. We have completed all the stages. We have delivered our application to the client. Client has seen the project at the end. We delivered application to the client. Client has seen our project at the end. When client see the project at the end, if a client is not happy with our project, 2 years we have spent to develop and deliver the project. 2 years back, a client has given the requirement. Whatever the ideas client having 2 years back, today those ideas are outdated. So much competition is there in the market. With 2 years back ideas, client cannot survive in the competitive business world. Now we delivered application to the client after 2 years. Now client is not happy with our project. Can we do something for that? No. Already 2 years time is wasted. Money is wasted. Because client is seeing the project only at the end. Client involvement is very less when you go for waterfall model. So that's why nowadays companies are not preferring waterfall model to develop the projects. Waterfall is the first SDLC methodology that came into market. This waterfall model is called as a sequential or a linear model. In waterfall model, after one stage is completed, then only we can go for next stage. In waterfall model, we will only move in the forward direction. Requirements are fixed and budget is also fixed. Client involvement is very less in the waterfall model. Client will see project only at the end. So if a client is not happy with our delivery, if a client is not happy with our project delivery, if a client is not happy with our project delivery, then time will be wasted. Then it is time waste and money waste process. Got it? I have given the requirements 2 years back. You completed the project today and you delivered your project today. Today I have seen the project. I am not happy with the project. Then my 2 years time is wasted. My money also wasted. Okay. Once this project development is completed, can I ask the company to change the requirement? My 2 years back ideas, so many people already implemented those ideas in the market. Whatever the ideas I have 2 years back, with those ideas today, I cannot do the business. Whatever the ideas I have 2 years back, with those ideas, I cannot do the business today. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Come on, guys. Are you guys clear with this? What is SDLC and what is waterfall? SDLC stands for Development Life Cycle. It represents end-to-end process involved in the software development process. Okay. In the SDLC, there are several phases available. These phases are called as SDLC phases. These are representing the software development and delivery process. Collecting the requirements, analyzing the requirements, designing the requirements, development, testing, deployment, delivery, and maintenance. Now, in the SDLC, initially, people used to follow waterfall model. What is the waterfall model? Waterfall model is called as step-by-step model. Once first step is completed, then we will go for second step. Once the second step is completed, then we will go for third step. Once the third step completed, fourth step. So we will move only in the forward direction. If one stage is completed, then only we will go for next stage in the waterfall model. So here, what is the problem with the waterfall model, guys? Can you see any problem involved in the waterfall model? What are the challenges with the waterfall model? Any idea? What are the challenges with the waterfall model? The challenges with the waterfall model, it will move only in the forward direction. After one stage is completed, then only we will go for next stage. Can client change the requirements in the middle? No, client cannot change the requirements in the middle. Client involvement will be very less. Client will see the project only at the end. So once the project development and delivery completed, if a client is not happy with our project, then money wasted, time also wasted. So that's why this waterfall model is not suitable for large applications in the today's world. Waterfall model is not suitable for the large applications in the today's world. So that's why currently in the market, people are using agile model. People are using agile model. What is agile model? Agile model is called as agile is an iterative approach. What is this agile? Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. So in the agile methodology, development, test planning, development, testing, delivery is a continuous process. Whereas in the waterfall model, development, testing, delivery is a sequential process. Whereas in the agile model, it is an iterative approach. It is like a loop concept. It will be keep on executing. Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In agile methodology, planning, development, testing, deployment is a continuous process. It is a continuous process. Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. It is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In agile methodology, planning, development, testing, and deployment is a continuous process. Client involvement is very high in the agile methodology. Client involvement is very high in agile methodology. Client involvement is very high in the agile methodology. So in the agile methodology, we are not going to develop the complete project at a time. Whereas in the waterfall model, we are going to collect all the requirements. We will complete the development for all the requirements. We will test it in the single shot and we will deliver. So everything will happen sequentially in the waterfall model. When you go for agile model, the project development, project testing, project deployment is a continuous process. Now, if you see here, there are 3 circles available. So these circles represents sprints in the agile methodology. What is the meaning of that? In the agile methodology, we are not going to develop all the requirements at a time. We are going to divide the client given requirements into multiple releases. Application will be delivered to the client. Application will be delivered to the client in multiple releases. Application will be delivered to client in multiple releases. In multiple releases. Those are called as sprints. Those are called as sprints. Now assume that client has given 300 requirements. Client has given 300 requirements. Instead of developing all the 300 requirements at a time, out of the 300 requirements, I will take first 100 requirements. I will plan, I will design, I will develop, I will test, I will deploy, then I will review, then I will launch. So I will take only first 100 requirements, then we will develop, we will test, and we will deliver those 100 requirements to the client. Once we deliver those 100 requirements to the client, then we will take the feedback from the client. Hey client, we have completed first sprint in the project. We have completed first sprint in the project. You check this sprint. How is the quality? Is your expectation matching with this delivery or not? You check that and you give the feedback. Based on the client feedback, then we will go for second sprint. In the second sprint also same thing. We will take the next 100 requirements. We will plan, we will design, we will develop, test, deploy, deliver the second sprint to the client. When we deploy that and deliver the second sprint, again, we will take the feedback from the client. Hey client, we have given second sprint delivery. So you test that, you check it. Is there any problem? Please let us know. Do you need any changes? Please let us know. Like this, we are going to deliver the second sprint to the client and we will take the client feedback. Then similarly, we will go for third sprint. The remaining 100 requirements are there. We will again plan them, design them, develop, test, deploy, deliver, and take the feedback from the client. So like this, in the agile methodology, application will be delivered to the client in multiple releases, and for every release, we will take client feedback. Okay, application will be delivered to the client in multiple releases. For every release, we will take client feedback. We will take the client feedback. Client involvement is very high in the agile methodology. Now you see the difference between waterfall model and agile model. How waterfall model is representing. In the waterfall model, everything is a sequence. Everything is a linear. After one stage is completed, then only we will go for next stage in the waterfall model. So if you go for a waterfall model, what is the problem? Client will see the project at the end. Client cannot change the requirements in the middle. Budget is fixed. Requirements are fixed. 2 years back, a client has given the requirement. Today we delivered. Those ideas got outdated. So whatever the requirements client has given to develop the project, so many companies already came into market with those functionalities. So client ideas 2 years back was fresh, but today they are outdated. Because within the 2 years of gap, so many companies delivered the projects with the same functionalities. So that's why in the today's market, agile methodology is not suitable to develop the projects. That's why companies and clients are preferring to go for agile methodology. In the today's market, waterfall model is not recommended to develop the project. That's why companies and clients are going for agile methodology to develop and deliver project to the client. So what is agile methodology? Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In the agile methodology, planning, development, testing, deployment is a continuous process. It's not sequential, it is iterative. That means continuously it will execute like a loop. Project development, testing, deployment, delivery is a continuous process. Application will not be delivered in the single shot to the client. Application will be delivered to the client in multiple releases. Those are called as sprints. For every release, we will take client feedback. Now you see here, multiple sprints are available. Assume that client has given 300 requirements. Instead of analyzing, developing, testing, delivering 300 requirements at a time, we will divide all those requirements into multiple releases. Those releases are called as sprints in the agile methodology. Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. Now, in every sprint, some functionalities we will develop and we will deliver to the client. Once one sprint is delivered to the client, we will take feedback from the client. Based on the feedback, we will work on the next sprint and we will deliver to the client. We'll take the feedback, we will work on the next sprint. So client involvement is very high in the project. Client satisfaction is the most important part when we go for agile methodology. When you go for agile methodology, requirements are not fixed and budget is also not fixed. Requirements, budget, requirements, duration, and budget is not fixed. Not fixed. Client can change the requirement at any time. When client change the requirement, duration will change and budget also will change. But in the waterfall model, everything is fixed. Okay, these are 30 requirements we have to develop. To develop these 30 requirements, we are going to take 1 year time. For this 1 year, 1 crore budget. So everything is fixed in the waterfall model. Whereas when it comes to the agile model, requirements are not fixed, duration is not fixed, budget is not fixed. Whenever client wants some changes, company will accept it. Based on that, charges will apply. Based on that, charges are going to apply. So can you read this? What is agile? Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In agile methodology, planning, development, testing, deployment is a continuous process. Okay, application will be delivered to the client in the multiple releases. Those are called as sprints. For every release, we will take the feedback from the client. Client involvement is very high in the agile methodology. Requirements, duration, budget is not fixed in the agile methodology. Next one, agile terminology. Next one is agile terminology. When you are working in the project which is following agile methodology, we need to understand the terminology. The very first one in the agile methodology is a product owner. So in our project, one person will play the role of product owner. So and you can see Scrum Master and you can see technical lead. Technical lead will be available. Then team members will be available. Okay. When we are working in the agile project in the real time, for your project one, product owner, Scrum Master, tech lead, and agile team members will be available. So who is a product owner? The person who is responsible for project deliveries to the client is called as a product owner. The person who is responsible to decide what is the priority task, what is the priority task, that will be decided by product owner, responsible for project deliverables. That means when we need to deliver a project to the client, taking the feedback from the client, all that stuff will be taken care by product owner in the agile methodology. So who is a product owner? Product owner is a person who is responsible for project deliverables and interact with the client. Now, once we deliver one sprint to the client, how that sprint development happened, how testing happened, is the client happy with our sprint delivery or not? That information will be gathered by product owner. Product owners will be in touch with the clients. They are responsible for project deliverables. When we need to deliver one sprint, what functionalities we need to complete in the sprint, that will be decided by our product owner. And the next one, Scrum Master, responsible to manage agile team members. Responsible to manage agile team members. For every team, one Scrum Master will be available. The Scrum Master is responsible to manage agile team members. That means who is working on which task, how many days he will take to complete the task, who is on the leave. Okay, all that information will be managed by Scrum Master. Product owner is responsible for project deliverables. Scrum Master is responsible to manage agile team members. That means in our team, there are 8 members are available. Who is working on which task? What is the status? Anybody need any help? Anybody need any help? Anybody got stuck? That information will be managed by Scrum Master. So for every project, product owner will be available and Scrum Master will be available. Scrum Master will manage our team members. So tomorrow, suppose you want to take the leave for 3 days, you need to inform to your Scrum Master. So Scrum Master will be monitoring the Agile team members. Daily your work status will be collected by Scrum Master only. How the project development and testing is happening, what is the progress in the project, what is the status of our project, how many team members are there, who is working on which stories, who is working on which task, who got stuck, who needs help. Okay, so leaves for the team members, all that information will be managed by Scrum Master in our project. Okay, then next one, technical lead. Guys, here product owner and Scrum Master may not be technical guys. For example, if you are working in the Java project, your product owner and Scrum Master may not know Java. They are, one person is responsible for only deliverables, one person is responsible to manage the team's work, responsible to manage agile team members' work. That's it. Technical lead, senior resource to solve technical challenges. Okay, if our team is facing any challenges technically, then technical lead will be available. Who is a technical guy? Who will be a developer or a DevOps engineer, something like Java team will have Java technical lead. That person is a senior resource to solve technical challenges for the team members. He knows each and everything in our project. Who is having complete knowledge on the project operations, that person will play the role of technical lead. That person is a senior resource who will solve the technical problems facing by our team. Our team stuck up with some problem, then you can reach out to technical lead. That guy will help you to solve your problems. Team members, developers plus testers. Developers, testers will be there for our project. So now when you join in the company with 3 years experience, 4 years experience, then you will be called as a Agile team member. Once you got some experience in the project, if you know each and everything about your project development, testing and all, then you will be promoted to technical lead. Technical lead means who is strong in technology and who can help the teams to solve their problems. And Scrum Master, that Scrum Master is responsible to manage our Agile team members' work. Then product owner will be available. Product owner is responsible for project deliverables. So what we need to deliver to the client, that will be decided by product owner. Are you guys clear? Tushar, client can change the requirement at any time. Whenever the requirement is changed, we will implement that in the next sprint. I am working on the sprint 1. Client has changed some requirement. Then they will go to sprint 2. Once the sprint 2 is delivered, whenever there is a change in the requirement, in the next sprint, we will implement that. Okay. In the next sprint, we are going to implement that. Whenever the business needs, they can change the requirement. Based on that, we will do analysis, development, testing, and delivery process. Guys, are you clear with this? What is Agile methodology? Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In the Agile methodology, planning, development, testing, and deployment is a continuous process. Application will be delivered to the client in multiple releases. For every release, we will take the client feedback. Client involvement is very high in the Agile methodology. Requirements and duration and budget is not fixed when you go for Agile methodology. Okay. Now, so Agile terminology, product owner will be available. Who is product owner? The person who is responsible for project deliverables. Scrum Master responsible to manage Agile team members' work. Technical lead is responsible to solve the problems which are facing by our team in the implementation part. Team members, the developers or testers will be available. Okay. Then next one, guys. When we go for Agile methodology, the first thing we need to understand backlog grooming meetings. Backlog grooming will be available. Then story will be available. Story points will be available. Sprint planning will be available. Sprint planning will be available. Sprint will be available. Sprint planning. Sprint will be available. Scrum will be available. Then retrospective will be available. Okay. So when you are working in the Agile team, every day you will hear this terminology. For most of the people, this is very new. What is backlog grooming? What is the story? What is story point? What is the sprint planning? What is the sprint? What is the scrum? What is retrospective? Have you heard this terminology before? Have you heard this terminology before? What is backlog grooming? What is a story? Story points, sprint planning, sprint, scrum, retrospective. So if you are working in the Agile methodology, every day in the morning, you will hear this terminology. So when you are working in the Agile project in the company, then every day you will hear this terminology. If you want to work in the Agile project, you should know this. Now, first one, backlog grooming. What is backlog grooming? A meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. Okay. Backlog grooming nothing but in our project, every 1 week or for every 2 weeks, backlog grooming meeting will be conducted. Backlog grooming meeting nothing but all our team members, our scrum master will join for that. In that meeting, we will discuss what are the pending tasks available in the project. Client is keep on giving the requirements. So out of those, how many we have completed, how many of them are pending, that we are going to identify in a meeting. That meeting is called as backlog grooming meeting. So backlog grooming meeting nothing but a meeting which is used to identify pending tasks in the project. All our team members will join in the backlog grooming meeting to discuss what are the pending items available in the project. The next one, story. Story means a task. Story means a task that we have to work on. Now I want to develop login functionality. So for every task, one story will be created. Story nothing but a task that we have to work on. For example, we want to create one GitHub repository for the project. So that is one story. We need to implement login functionality in the project. For that task, one story will be created. So every story will have story ID. Every story will have story ID, story number, story ID, story 1, 2, 3, story 3, 4, 5, 6, something like this. So we are going to create a story for the task. For example, in the backlog grooming meeting, we identified that there are 100 pending tasks available. For every task, one story will be created. 100 stories will be created in the Jira. So complete this Agile project management will happen through Jira software. So in the team, multiple members will be available. all those team members will join for one meeting, which is called backlog grooming meeting. In that meeting, the team members will discuss about the pending tasks available in the project. Team members will be there, Scrum Master will be there, sometimes product owner also can join that meeting. So that is a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. In that meeting only, we will create the story for every task. Once the backlog grooming is done, in that we identified that there are 100 stories, 100 tasks are pending. For every task, one story will be created. What is the story? Story nothing but a task that we have to work on. Every story will have story ID. Story points represents duration to complete the story. Duration to complete the story. How many days are required to complete the story? We will represent by using story points. So do you need 1 day to complete this story? Do you need 2 days to complete the story? Do you need 3 days to complete the story? That will be represented by story points. Story points represents duration to complete the story. Story points represents duration to complete the story. Are you guys able to follow this? Backlog grooming. Backlog grooming is a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. Story means a task that we have to work on. For every story, one ID will be available. And for every story, story points will be available. What is the meaning of story points? Story points represents the duration to complete the story. That means how many days you need to take to complete the story. For example, in my project, that story points definition is like this. So if the story having 3 points, that means it is 1 day. If the story is having 5 points, then that means it is 2 days story. If the story is having 8 points, that means it is 3 days story. Okay. In some projects, 1 point means 1 day, 2 points means 2 days, 3 points means 3 days. The story point definition can change from project to project. In my project, 3 points means if a story is created, that means a task, implement exception handling in the login functionality. Now, for that story, I have given 3 points. 3 points means the story should be completed in 1 day of time. Whoever is taking that story, they should complete that story within 1 day. Now there is a story, develop a Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. So to develop a Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, I need 2 days time. So for that story, at the time of creating the story in the backlog grooming, we will assign story points. So if I assign story points as 5, that means that story can complete in 2 days of time. Okay. There is a story, implement unit testing for the project. Unit testing implementation will take time. For that, we are taking 8 points. 8 points means that story will be completed in 3 days. So like this, we will identify all the pending tasks in the project in the backlog grooming meeting. So once the pending tasks are identified, for every pending task, one story will be created. Every story will have its own ID, and for every story, we will assign story points. What are the story points? Story points represents the duration to complete the story. How many days it will take to complete that story? Based on that, we will assign story points. All right. Are you clear with what is backlog grooming? What is the story? What is the story point? Are you guys clear with this? Backlog grooming, story and story points. Are you clear with these 3 points? Come on, guys. Backlog grooming. Backlog grooming is a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. Story means a task that we have to work on. Every story will have a story ID. Story points represents duration to complete the story. 3 points means 1 day. 5 points means 2 days. 8 points means 3 days will be there. Sprint planning. What is sprint planning? A meeting to prioritize. A meeting to prioritize the backlog stories to work in next sprint. Now, so in the backlog, so many stories are available. There are 100 stories available in the backlog. All the 100 we are not going to develop at a time. So for that, we need to prioritize which stories we have to complete first. That's where sprint planning comes into picture. What is sprint planning? Sprint planning is a meeting which is used to prioritize the backlog stories to work. That means which stories are pending, and out of those pending stories, which are priority for us, those stories we have to work in the next sprint. So to identify that part, we are going to conduct sprint planning session. So what is this sprint planning? Sprint planning, nothing but it is a meeting to prioritize the backlog stories to work in the next sprint. Sprint planning means a meeting to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint. Backlog grooming, it is a meeting to identify pending tasks in the project. For every pending task, one story will be created. Story nothing but a task that we have to work on. Every story will have a story ID. And for every story, story points also will be available. Project to project, story points definition may change. Here I have given the story points definition as per my project. In some projects, 1 point means 1 day, but in my project, 3 points means 1 day. That's different from company to company and project to project. And next one, sprint planning. What is the meaning of sprint planning? Sprint planning is a meeting which is used to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint. So in our project, there are 100 backlog stories are available. Out of 100, which stories we need to complete first, that we are going to identify in the sprint planning. What is sprint? Fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in sprint duration. As a team, we are going to agree that, okay, so in this planning meeting, we will identify these 40 stories we are going to complete in the sprint. So one sprint, nothing but fixed set of stories that we agree to complete in the sprint duration. So in general, sprint duration will be 2 weeks of time. In general, sprint duration will be, that is the industry standard. How many days one sprint will be available? As per the industry standard, sprint duration will be 2 weeks. In some projects, they may keep it as 3 weeks. In some projects, they may keep it as 1 month. But in my company, sprint duration is 2 weeks of time. Fixed set of stories that we agree to complete in sprint duration is called as one sprint. Then what is the Scrum? Daily meeting to provide work updates. Daily meeting to provide work updates to Scrum Master. So every day we will be having a Scrum meeting that will happen either in the morning or evening. In that Scrum meeting, our Scrum Master will join and all our team members will join. In that Scrum meeting, every day, morning or evening, this Scrum meeting will be available. So in this Scrum meeting, we need to provide our work updates to Scrum Master. Okay. What updates we need to provide? What what are you working on? What are you working on? When it will complete? When it will complete? Do you have any issues? Do you have any issues? Do you need any help? Do you need any help? These 4 points we need to discuss. Every team member should discuss these 4 points in the Scrum call. Scrum call is a daily meeting to provide work updates to our Scrum Master. So this Scrum meeting will happen 15 to 20 minutes of time in the project every day. In some projects, it will happen in the morning. In some projects, it will happen in the evening. So this Scrum is a daily meeting which is used to provide work updates to our Scrum Master. In that meeting, you need to tell to the Scrum Master. You means every team member should tell to Scrum Master which story you are working on. You are working on which story and when that story will complete. Do you have any issues in doing that story completion? And do you need any help to complete that story? That we are going to discuss in the every Scrum call. Are you clear? What is sprint planning? Sprint planning means it is a meeting which is used to prioritize the backlog stories to work in the next sprint. Sprint planning is a meeting to prioritize the backlog stories to work in the next sprint. Then what is a sprint? Sprint means fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration. So from the backlog stories, we will prioritize the stories for the sprint. Fixed set of stories like means in this sprint 1, we are going to complete 40 stories. So those 40 stories we will take as a team and every team member will work on the stories. And when the sprint is started, the Scrum call will be available every day. What is the Scrum call? Some people will call it as a Scrum call. Some people will call it as a stand-up call. What is the Scrum? Scrum call. Daily meeting to provide work updates to Scrum Master. What are you working on? What story you have assigned? What story you are doing? When that story will complete? Do you have any issues in completing that story? Do you need any help in completing the story? Every team member within 15 to 20 minutes of time, every team member should provide work updates to the Scrum Master. Then what is retrospective? Review meeting. Review meeting to discuss what went well, what went wrong, lessons learned, improvements, and new ideas. Okay, we have completed 1 month, 2 sprints we have completed. So a review meeting will happen. Now, simple example. Nowadays, when a new movie is released, our movie critics will be there. They will provide the review for the movie. So what is the overall story of the movie? What are the positives in the movie? What are the negatives in the movie? How is hero performance? How is villain performance? Heroine performance? How is the comedy track in the movie? They will discuss in 2 to 3 minutes of time a movie review. Nowadays, most of the people are going to the movie theaters by watching the reviews only. Yes or no? Have you seen any movie review in the YouTube? Guys, have you seen any movie review in the YouTube or in the news channels? Some websites are there. They will provide the movie reviews for us. So what is that review? The overall summary. How the movie has taken. How is the hero performance, villain performance, heroine performance, comedy track? How is music? How is the story? What is the overall positives in the movie, negatives in the movie? What are overall rating for the movie? Okay. Similarly, in our project also, every month once retrospective meeting will happen. In that retrospective meeting, all the team members will discuss what went well in the last sprint. That means how we have implemented our sprints, what went well, what went wrong, what went well in the sprint, what went wrong in the sprint. Okay. What went well in the sprint, what went wrong in the sprint. Then what are the lessons we have learned and do we need to improve anything for the next sprint? any new ideas to do the better in the project. Those things we are going to discuss in the retrospective. Idea board will be available. If you want to share any ideas, then you can give those ideas also in the retrospective. So this is complete Agile team roles, Agile team, and here Agile terminology, Agile team and Agile terminology. Okay. So in the Agile team, product owner will be available, who is responsible for our project deliverables. Scrum master will be available, who is responsible to manage Agile team members' work. Technical lead will be available. He is a senior resource to solve our technical challenges. Team members will be available. They are called as developers, testers, right? In the Agile project, when you are working in the Agile project, every day you will hear this terminology. First one is backlog grooming. Backlog grooming is a meeting. Backlog grooming is a meeting that is used to identify all the pending tasks in the project. For every pending task, one story will be created. A story, story means a task that we have to work on. A task that we have to work on is called as a story. For every story, we need to analyze how much time that story is going to take. Based on that, we need to assign story points. Story points represents the duration to complete the story, right? Sprint planning. Every 2 weeks, one sprint planning meeting will happen. What is sprint planning meeting? A sprint planning meeting is used to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint. Okay. So in our project, there are so many stories in the backlog. That means which are pending. All the backlog stories we need to review and we need to check. Which stories we have to complete first. That will be identified in the sprint planning. Sprint planning is a meeting to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint. Then next one, sprint will be available. Sprint nothing but fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration. So industry standard sprint duration is 2 weeks. If you want, we can increase as per the project. Sprint duration 2 weeks. 2 weeks. This is industry standard. Okay. In some projects, they may go with the 3 weeks also. But in my project, our sprint duration is 2 weeks. So once the sprint is going on, every day we will have Scrum call. Our Scrum call is used to discuss our work updates. So what is Scrum? Scrum means a daily meeting to provide work updates to Scrum Master. Scrum nothing but it is a daily meeting to provide work updates to Scrum Master. So in this Scrum call, we are going to discuss what are you working on, when it will complete, which story you are working on, which story, when that story will be completed. Do you have any issues in completing that story? Do you need any help to complete that story? That we will discuss in the Scrum call. Then we will be having retrospective. What is retrospective? Retrospective is nothing but a review meeting which is used to discuss what went well, what went wrong, what are the lessons we have learned, any improvements, any new ideas. These things we are going to discuss in the retrospective meeting. Retrospective nothing but it is a review meeting to discuss what went well, what went wrong, what are the lessons we have learned, and any improvements we need to do, and any ideas that we have, any ideas for the project, any ideas for the team that we are going to discuss in the retrospective. So in my project, retrospective will happen monthly once. In my project, for every 2 sprints, one retrospective we are going to conduct. Our sprint duration is 2 weeks. So in the month, 2 sprints will complete. 15 days, one sprint. 15 days, one sprint, right? So 15 days, nothing but weekly 5 days we are working in the software. So 5 days plus 5 days, 10 working days will be there for the sprint. Okay, monthly 20 working days, right? Excluding Saturday, Sunday. 2 weeks will be available. Once 2 sprints are completed, after 1 month, every day, after 1 month, after every 1 month, one retrospective meeting will be conducted. In the retrospective meeting, we are going to discuss what went well, what went wrong, what are the lessons we have learned, any improvements we need to do, any new ideas we have that we have discussed. Are you clear? Retrospective is not happening on the daily basis. Retrospective will happen monthly once. Retrospective will happen monthly once. Retrospective will happen monthly once. Sprint planning, backlog grooming for every 2 weeks. Okay. So for every 2 weeks, backlog grooming and sprint planning will happen. Retrospective meeting will happen monthly once in my project. I'm sharing my experience now. In the retrospective meeting also, all the team members, our Scrum Master will be available. Product owner, team members. Now, when I say meeting, all these 4 people will be there. Team members will be available. Technical lead will be available. Scrum Master will be available. Product owner also will be available. When I say meeting, all these people will be there. Product owner, Scrum Master, technical lead, team members. Product owner will join backlog grooming calls, sprint planning calls, then Scrum calls, then retrospective calls. So every day, so many calls will be available when you are working in the Agile methodology. Okay, Agile is one of the SDLC methodology. Agile is one of the SDLC methodology. So what is SDLC? SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle, which represents the project lifecycle process, end-to-end process to develop and deliver our software application. So in the SDLC, there are several phases available: requirements, analysis, designing, development, testing, deployment, delivery, maintenance. Like this is several phases available in the SDLC. The first model in the SDLC is waterfall model. Diagrammatically, I'm showing you waterfall model is a sequential model. It is a step-by-step model. After one stage is completed, then only we will go for next stage in the waterfall model. When we complete one stage in the waterfall model, then only we will go for next stage in the waterfall model. In the waterfall model, requirements are fixed. Budget is also fixed. Client involvement is very less in the waterfall model. Client will see the project only at the end. If a client is not happy with our delivery, money will be wasted, time will be wasted. So that's why nowadays companies are not preferring waterfall model. Companies are going for Agile model. So what is Agile model? Agile is the latest trending model in the software industry to develop and deliver applications. Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. What is the meaning of iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client? So here, all the functionalities will not be developed in the single shot when we go for Agile model. In the Agile model, project will be delivered to the client in the multiple releases. Instead of doing the big task at a time, we will divide into small tasks and we will complete it. Instead of delivering the entire project to the client at a time, we will deliver the project to the client in multiple releases. Right. Now, if a client has given 300 requirements, instead of developing all the 300 requirements at a time, instead of delivering all the 300 requirements at a time, we are going to divide them into multiple releases and we will deliver. In every release, planning, development, design, testing, deployment is a continuous process. Okay, that's why we are calling Agile is an iterative approach to develop and deliver application to the client. In the Agile methodology, planning, development, testing, deployment is a continuous process. Here, application will be delivered to the client in the multiple releases, multiple sprints will be available. For every release, we will take client feedback. For every release, we will take the client feedback. Client involvement is very high in the Agile methodology. Requirements, duration, budget is not fixed when you go for Agile methodology. When you are working in the Agile methodology, the several team members will be available. Product owner will be available. Scrum Master will be available. Technical lead will be available. Team members will be available. Product owner is responsible for project deliverables. Scrum master responsible to manage Agile team members' work. Technical lead, a senior resource in the project who knows in and out about the project, who can solve the problems of our team members. Agile team members. In the Agile team, developers will be available and the testers also will be available. Development and testing, deployment, delivery is a continuous process when you go for Agile. That's why it is called as iterative approach. Now, if you observe, waterfall is a linear approach, Agile is a iterative approach. Now, coming to Agile terminology, it is very, very important because every day you will listen to this terminology in the project. So first one is backlog grooming. What is backlog grooming? Backlog grooming is a meeting which is used to identify pending tasks in the project. All the team members, when I say team, Agile team will join for the backlog grooming. That in that meeting they will identify and they will discuss what are the pending tasks available in the project as per the client expectation. So once the backlog grooming discussion is started, so whatever the pending tasks are available, for every pending task, one story will be created. What is a story? Story nothing but a task that we have to work on. Every story will have a story ID, a task that we have to work on. For every story, story ID will be available. And for every story, story points will be available. What is the meaning of story points? Story points represents the duration to complete the story. So in my project, 3 points means 1 day, 5 points means 2 days, 8 points means 3 days. Like this, story points will be available. Now, once the backlog grooming is completed, stories are created, then sprint planning will start. Sprint planning also a meeting to prioritize backlog stories to work in the next sprint. For the next sprint, which stories we have to work, that will be decided in the sprint planning. Once the sprint planning completed, then sprint will start. What is a sprint? Sprint nothing but fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration. Fixed set of stories that we agreed to complete in the sprint duration is called as a sprint. For every sprint, 2 weeks duration will be available. That is the industry standard. For every sprint, 2 weeks duration will be available. That is the industry standard. Then Scrum. What is Scrum? Scrum is a daily meeting to provide work updates to our Scrum Master. Scrum is a daily meeting to provide work updates to our Scrum Master. So what are you working on? When it will be completed? Do you have any issues on that? Do you need any help in that? That we will discuss in the Scrum. Then what is retrospective? Retrospective is nothing but a review meeting to discuss what went well, what went wrong, what are the lessons we have learned, any improvements, any new ideas that we are going to discuss. In the project, retrospective will happen monthly once. Retrospective will happen monthly once. Are you clear? Now, next, we need to understand the story creation, the story assignment by using Jira. So Jira is one tool which is used to manage our Agile team work. So we are going to work with Agile methodology in the project. So when we are working with Agile methodology, how the story will be created, how the sprint will be created, what is backlog, what is sprint, what is story, how to assign the story points, those things we are going to discuss in the tomorrow session. In the tomorrow session, we will see how to work with the Jira tool. In the tomorrow session, we will see how to work with the Jira tool. That is very, very, very important. Everybody should know how to work with the Jira. Whether you are a fresher or whether you are experienced, it doesn't matter. Jira is mandatory because story creation, sprint creation, story assignment, backlog, everything will happen in the Jira software. In the tomorrow's class, we will understand what is Jira. We completed these 5 points as of now. This point we need to discuss in the tomorrow's class. Are you clear with SDLC, phases, waterfall, Agile terminology? Are you clear with this point, guys? All of you clear with these points? All right. Good. Who will assign the story points? The person who is creating the story, that person only will assign the story points. Tomorrow I will show you how to create backlog stories, how to create stories with story points, how to plan the stories in the sprint planning. Okay. So tomorrow we will do practicals. Whatever the terminology that we discussed theoretically. So please revise this. In the tomorrow's class, we will discuss practically on Jira. All good. Anybody having any questions, you can unmute and you can ask me.
Sir,
Yeah.
in the real life, in the Scrum meeting, the client will also be present to know our updates.
Yes, client will not present, sir. Product owner will present. Client will not be there.
Sir, product owner means mainly our project manager.
No, project manager is different, product owner is different. So nowadays in the agile methodologies, right, manager's concept is not there, sir. Product owner, scrum master concepts are there. Product owner, nothing but he is the person who is responsible to deliver the project to the client. That means he will tell to the client when the delivery will be done, what we need to deliver. He will be interacting with the clients. Clients will
Means
not join for the
project
daily
only
meeting.
substitute to this Scrum Master and product owners
Yes,
nowadays.
nowadays, yes. So earlier, when we are working with the waterfall model, project managers will be available. But nowadays, product owner and scrum masters concept came into picture.
Sir, what is the
Sir.
role of BA in the project?
Sir, BA means business analyst. He is responsible to collect the requirements from the client and he will explain the requirements to the development team. Right? He will collect the requirements from the client and he will prepare the documents and he will share the documents to the team.
Okay, in
BS will
what
be
phase
available
he
at the
will be,
project
sir?
level. Yeah, business analyst.
In what phase he will be in this
Before going to
cycle?
start our backlog grooming, they will collect the requirements and they will give the requirements. Once they have given the requirements to us, then we are going to start with the backlog grooming.
Okay.
Yeah, Ashok, sir. There is a word MOM, minutes of meeting. What is that?
Minutes of meeting, that means whenever we completed, suppose for example, we had backlog grooming meeting. What we have discussed in the backlog grooming, we will summarize and we will send one email. That is minutes of meeting. I will explain that.
Okay.
Hi, sir. What is
Hello, Ashok sir.
Kanban?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi sir. Sir, what is the basic difference? Means what is the difference between Scrum Master and business analyst?
Business analyst means he will explain you the project requirements. He will collect the requirements and he will give the requirements. Scrum Master will manage the team. So Scrum Master will conduct backlog grooming meetings. Scrum Master will conduct sprint planning. Scrum Master will conduct the Scrum call. Scrum Master will conduct the retrospect. Scrum Master will manage our team members' work. Who is doing what? Who has to do what? That will be managed by Scrum Master. Business analyst is different.
Yes, sir. I got it. Thank you, sir.
Scrum Master will be the project manager, sir.
No, sir. Project manager, Scrum Master, both are not same.
Okay, but in this cycle, BA comes first, right?
BA
Before
will
the backlog.
collect the requirement. Yes, before the backlog grooming, BA comes. They will collect the requirement. Some projects they will be called as BA. In some projects they will call as functional team. That role is different. They are responsible to collect the requirements. They will document the requirements. In my project, there is no BA. We are having functional team. Functional team is responsible to collect the requirements from the client and they will prepare the document with the requirements. We don't have any BA concept in our team.
Okay, but
In some
mainly
projects,
his work
BA team
is
will be available.
creating a documentation, right? Mainly his role is creating documentation and gathering requirements from the client and updating before backlog grooming.
Yes.
Okay.
So it means if we want to know what is the requirement by the client, then that functional team will inform us that what
Correct.
is the new
Yeah.
requirements.
Generally, as a developer, you cannot communicate with the client directly. Whatever the doubts you have on the requirement, you need to talk to that functional team. Functional team will clarify your doubts related to application functionality. They will communicate with the client. As a developer, you cannot directly communicate with the client.
So, sir,
And
product
one
owner.
more.
Yeah.
Sir, who will closely monitor the team members? Sir, is it tech lead or the Scrum Master? Like
Scrum Master.
about
Scrum Master
Then
will monitor.
what is the role of tech lead, sir? Like,
Tech lead
because
means any tech lead nothing but if any new team members join, giving the KT to the new people, any problems are there in the project, solving those problems. Okay, team members are stuck with some solutions. Tech lead will help for that. So he will monitor. He will know each and everything in the project. He will manage that.
so he's just managing, not in the development side.
He will do the development also. He will be involving in the development and he will be there to help the people technically.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he is a senior resource. Basically, we can call senior programmer in the project.
Okay, sir.
So once a task is
Product owner
allotted,
will play.
One by one, guys.
so once a task is allotted, like once a story is allotted, like you said for 3 points one day, right? Like in
Correct.
your project. So if I didn't meet, means if I didn't complete in one day, we need to update.
Today I got a story which is having 3 points. I have to complete in one day. Due to some reasons, I'm not able to complete the story in the one day. Then in the Scrum call, I will tell to my Scrum Master, I'm working on the story number 308. That story is supposed to complete today, but due to some technical challenge, it is not completed. Tomorrow I will complete. You need to justify why it is not completed in the Scrum call.
Okay.
You need to give the reason. If it is not completed on time.
If valid reason is there, he
Yes.
will listen.
Yep.
Okay.
Suppose every day if you are delaying the task, then they will keep you in the PIP, performance improvement program. If you are not completing the stories on time, they will observe that you are not working properly. Then they will keep in the PIP, performance improvement program. They will give 1 month time to improve your performance. If you don't improve, then they will remove from the team.
Okay.
So from the team or from the company?
Initially, they will remove from the team. Then if it is repeated second time also, then they will remove from the company.
Okay, sir.
And what if we are facing some issues like completing the task on time? So do you get any help from the other developers?
Definitely help will be there. That is what you can tell in the Scrum call, do you need any help? You can't ask them, I'm not able to write the code, I need someone's help. If you stuck somewhere with some problem, they will help you. But suppose there is a task for you to implement some functionality. You can't ask your team member to write the code for you. When you are writing the code, if there is any small problem, that they will help. Every day they don't do the help.
Yeah, in some requirements they have been asking like you need to write JUnit and jQuery also. So means we only parallelly write the code and we should only do that.
That is what
testing.
In the mini projects you will understand how the real-time development will happen.
Okay.
From the next week we are going to start the project's implementation. Then you will get the picture.
Okay.
Sir, in agile methodology, product owner will play a role as BA.
No, product owner is different, BA is different, and Scrum Master is different. Product owner is the head. Product owner is the head who will communicate with the client to deliver the project. When to deliver, what to deliver, product owner will decide.
Hello, sir. I am Bhima.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, product owner nothing but an intermediary between client and business analyst.
You can say that also. He is intermediate. He is a mediator between the client and project team. Sir, our company, you can say product owner is the mediator between the client and our company. So what we need to deliver to the client will be decided by the product owner. When to deliver, what to deliver, what is the client feedbacks, he will take that and he will give to the team. He's the mediator between our agile team and the client.
Product owner will be part of client or
he'll be part of our company.
Sorry?
The product owner will be represented from the client side or he'll be part of
our product company? Owner is from our company only.
Sir, what is the role of architect?
Architect is different, sir. They will decide what technologies we need to use to develop the project. What is the project architecture? How many microservices we need to develop? Where to use Kafka? Where to use Redis? Where to use a SQL database? Where to use a NoSQL database? Which front-end technology we need to use? What is the security technique we need to implement? That thing will be decided by the architect. Architect is different.
Which development roadmap they will say?
Development roadmap will be decided by architect.
And one more last question, sir. So, So offshore working process will be same as like Indian IT only, right? Offshore
Yes.
means all matches, right? Same. Okay.
Sir, product owner and DA both will be the intermediate between Agile and client, Agile team and client.
Sir, and one more thing, sir. Whenever we are talking about the BA, product owner and all, company to company, the roles will be different. So suppose whatever the product owner is doing in my company, in every company, product owners will not do the same thing. So company to company, वो change हो जाए, right? So as I told you, in my company, there is no BA concept. I'm working for topmost broad-based company, which is US-based company only. We don't have any BA concept. It doesn't mean that BA will not be there in any company. In the other company, BS will be available. So once you joined in the project, you will understand the team structure, what roles are available, who is responsible to do what. That will be decided within the project. So I cannot give a static answer when the BA will come, what BA will do. Company to company, project to project, the roles are going to be different. So once you join, now I am explaining my project information because currently I am working on that. I know everything about my team structure. When you join in the other company, suppose if you go for TCS, their roles will be different. If you go for Infosys, their roles will be different. So company to company, the process is not same.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm Aniket. Actually, I referred Saurabh here. I have completed JRTP 20 and last year I got a job. So I've successfully completed 1 year. So I wanted to talk to you something that I should switch a company for alag tech for different types like Kafka, Spring Boot, microservices, or currently actually I'm working on SOAP to RESTful migration. So I should switch or what?
It's currently the market condition is not good, sir. You wait for another 3 to 4 months of time. You learn the technologies, you upgrade yourself to full stack with the DevOps and AWS. In the next March, you can plan for the switch.
Okay.
Currently, the situation is not good. And from the December to January, calls will not be there because of that Christmas and shutdown period. So you have another 5 months of time. You continue in the same company. Meanwhile, update your skill set related to AWS cloud and DevOps tools, because nowadays every developer also should know the cloud computing and DevOps operations.
Yes, sure, sir. And next any batch.
Yeah, my DevOps AWS batch will start in the September, sir. Currently, I mean, another 1 month my batch is not there. So once the batch is started, you can join for the DevOps with AWS. So that knowledge will, that AWS DevOps knowledge will be very, very helpful for the developers, because in the companies, 95% of the developers don't know how the project will be delivered to the client. Developers will be involved up to the code is committed to the GitHub. Once the code is committed to the GitHub, they don't know how the operations will happen, how the infrastructure will be created. If you learn the DevOps with AWS, then you will become complete full stack. You can do the development, you can create the infrastructure, you can deploy, and you can deliver the application. My suggestion, any working person currently who are working in the Java, who are already doing the job, upgrade your skill set to the DevOps and AWS.
Sir, who are working in the support role, what do you suggest them, sir? Currently, we are upskilling in the Java full stack. Okay. So, do you want us to learn this AWS with DevOps also, or first to settle in the full stack Java development role? Hello. Hello. Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi guys, can you hear me now? I got disconnected due to power cut.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, guys, I got disconnected.
Hello.
Guys,
Yes, sir.
am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, currently,
Yeah, I got disconnected.
Yeah. Sir, can I speak now?
Yes, sir.
Sir, currently I'm in a support role, sir, with 1.7 years of experience. So I want to go as an a full stack Java developer role. Okay. So do I need to learn DevOps with AWS also? Because I haven't worked in the real time of Java development, right? So
If
first,
you
do I?
learn, that will be, if you learn, that will be an advantage for you, sir.
So
Because
one more.
cloud knowledge is mandatory nowadays for everyone.
Because both are two different career paths, right? Okay, development and this DevOps cloud related. Okay.
No, sir. No. You can't say that they are different because nowadays developers also should perform operations in the project.
Okay.
Okay, they both are not separate now. Developers should know both.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, do you teach Salesforce technologies, e-commerce and
No, sir.
Salesforce?
I don't teach that.
No, not you, but in
Salesforce.
the institute, like Salesforce batch is there.
Currently, in our institute, Salesforce is not there. If anything is getting started, I will update you on that.
Okay, sir.
Sir, what is ChatGPT and what is the role of ChatGPT in market?
Sir, I will share one video for the ChatGPT. I already uploaded in the YouTube. I will give in the group. ChatGPT will give you solution for any question that you ask. I will give you a video. It's already there in our channel. I will post in our.
Okay, Hi, sir. Hi, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, I'm Bhima. I'm getting calls on full stack in at Angular. But I have completed your videos. But could you please send sir interview questions on Angular?
Sir, I don't have them ready, sir. If I prepare, I will share it.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Sir, sometime I heard about from the other colleagues that they have client meeting. So is a client also present sometime in the meeting in our Scrum?
I am getting disconnected multiple times, guys. So we'll connect in the tomorrow session.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Anybody having any question? Meanwhile, you can post in the group so that we can remember for tomorrow. So we'll connect tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll clarify all the doubts and we'll work on the Jira tool. Thank you.